Welcome, everybody, to the Anti-Think Tank. We are on episode 11. We are recording this on November 6th at 10 p.m. And we're kind of going off the cuff. It's one of my episodes, so I want to do this a bit more naturally than the sort of more like set segments and such. But there was a lot of important events that happened over the last week. You know, war, famine. But the most important of them was the ending to Attack on Titan. And I feel like we have to talk about that, because I've been waiting to hear from Ian for about a week now, or what's felt like a week, to get his opinion on the ending. And I think it's quite literally one of the best endings of any piece of media I've ever seen.
And this is where I sit out of this.
This is Weeb Corner now, motherfucker.
Justin is the only human being on the planet who wasn't glued to their TV screen the other day during this Game of Thrones level event. Shame him. Shame.
Kill him!
Make him feel it. Put a radish in his butthole.
What?
I don't know what that was completely separate. That had nothing to do with the shame. All right, the basic point. I want to get this out of the way. Just a quick disclaimer: if you are listening to this podcast and you've either told yourself, "Oh, I watched the show at some point, didn't really care for it. I thought it was too action focused. I thought it was too this. I thought it was too that," or maybe you're just not an anime watcher at all. I simply implore you, with the absolute soul of my being, please skip this segment and go to the next one. Because I legitimately believe that this is mandatory viewing. It is one of the most beautiful, heartfelt pieces of anything I've ever seen. I have never been rocked to my core by the ending of a story like this. It is absolutely astounding. Let us
skip to this. We'll put it up on screen now. Justin, go ahead. And there we go. All right.
Now let us get to the knob slobbery. Let's get to the knob slobbery. Let's just get to it.
Attack on Titan is the best anti-war fiction I have ever seen in my entire life, and the ending credits scene to the final episode is what cements it as such to me. And it is the single best written piece of work from start to finish. There are some plot points you can say are flawed or some memeable moments, definitely. But even the shit that a lot of manga readers were screeching and crying about, whenever they came on screen in this episode, it was mind-blowingly good. I couldn't believe that the line 10 years at least, as Eren was having a fucking mental breakdown, was a controversial line, when I thought that was one of the best pieces of the episode. Him just...
Okay,
it was a meme.
Go on.
It was a memeable line, don't get me wrong, it was awkward. But it was awkward for a reason. Seeing him just completely break down and revert to I didn't want this, I wanted to live, but I felt trapped by my own destiny, was such good writing.
So I, much like many people, have spent the last 3 years of my life being told over and over again that this ending is awful, it is disgustingly terrible. I've heard that it betrays the themes of the show. I've heard people say that it's awful. I've heard that Eren's character assassination is second only to Daenerys Targaryen, that they're the two most, the missed potential characters in history. There is no universe, there is no conceivable multiverse in which you can compare Daenerys Targaryen's absolutely awful out-of-character ending to everything that Isayama did with Eren Yeager. Eren went from one of the most boring characters I've ever seen in a story in Season 1 to growing into just a magnificently complex being. And somehow he doesn't change at all, and that is what is so interesting. By the end of the story, he is still a raging, angry child whose only solution to any of his problems is just to hurt them and to beat them into submission. And he could not escape his own mindset and his own simple nature.
It is, and I'm gonna piss off a lot of people when I say this. It does the end of the Code Geass, which is already an amazing ending, and then one ups it.
Better.
Yeah, it did it better than it did in Code Geass. And that hurts me to say, because Code Geass is one of my favorite shows of all time. But Attack on Titan succeeds in ways that Code Geass fails. And I think that that's just an absurdity to say out loud. Like...
Oh, yeah.
And I want to, like, dispel some of the things, because people say towards the end credit scene that it discredits the show and the story. And, like, I think that was the point, showing that war discredits the sacrifices of those who have who have tried and sacrificed before you. Like, if you go and you pursue conflict, everything leading up to you is just going to be destroyed. Like, it's so well written, dude. It's like, it blew my fucking mind whenever I'd read it in the manga, and it only did more whenever I watched the fucking show.
And for me, what makes it even better is what makes it even better for me is that while it is a total downer ending, a completely bitter, hard to swallow pill, what I think makes it work as far as like just a character satisfaction standpoint is the fact that all of that, all of the conflict and war and the next like huge conflict didn't happen until several years after Mikasa had passed away. And Mikasa looked like she was what, like 70, 75 when she passed away?
It was hundreds of years past. Like, a whole civilization had been born in Paradise.
Exactly. Okay, so I kid you not, I saw a comment by like an actual brain dead melon who said that, oh my gosh, I can't believe I watched this entire story and there was no point because Paradis ended up getting attacked and nuked anyway. I'm like, okay, did you not see the city? That was like some Psychopath shit. That was some Code Geass shit. That looked like the year 3054. Okay, that could have been a completely separate conflict. Yeah. And even if it wasn't a completely separate conflict, and 2,000 years later, Marley did decide to just nuke 2,000 years later Paradis, it doesn't really negate Aaron's sacrifice, because what Aaron wanted was to secure a long life for the small batch of people that he cared about. Yeah. And even though it's such a terrible thing that he did and inexcusable, it is what he did. And those people we got to see from Mikasa's passing away, that Reiner and Peak and Mikasa and Armin, and they all got to live out fulfilling lives away from the 13-year curse. So why are y'all mad?
Yeah, like, not only did Aaron's plan succeed, like, his mission statement was not to protect Paradis. It was to protect Armin, Mikasa, and the people that he fucking cared about. And we see this civilization in the time lapse be built more and more and more. Technology advancing, so we know for a fact this is long after they've passed. And as you said, we don't know the cause of the conflict that happens. We don't know if it's because of the rumbling. We don't know if it's because of all this shit. It could literally have just been another war. And that's part of Isayama's writing, is that we don't know the cause of it. It could be anything. It could have just sparked again.
Absolutely. And another thing I've seen people also say, okay, well, if this child is going to fall into the tree and this child is going to fall. I hate that we started with the end of the episode to talk about that. Really sucks, but I guess we'll go backwards. Yeah. With that child walking up to the tree, people say, okay, so now Aaron's sacrifice really meant nothing, because it essentially means that the Titans are going to get brought back to the planet, because this child is going to fall in, and then hallucigenia is going to connect itself to this person again. For one, there is absolutely nothing that tells me that child is going to fall into that tree and become the next founding Titan. And two, even if you believe that child does, and the cycle does continue again, Ymir Fritz falls into that tree because she is being chased by an attack dog from King Fritz's men. She is chased into it by an angry dog based on human malice. This child is walking up to the tree with a dog next to it who is its friend and loyal, and this child has complete autonomy walking into that tree. How do people not see the thematic relevance of that shit?
Every single part of the story was thought through so well, and it feels so good now as someone who read the manga a couple of years ago, and just hearing everybody else just shit all over the ending. it feels so good to have the anime watchers come like, no, this was fucking great. And I'm like, thank you! I've been waiting so long to feel this vindicated.
Dude, I am so happy that I personally don't go on Twitter. I don't really have Twitter, but I go on Reddit a lot. But my sister likes Twitter for whatever reason. She doesn't understand why I like Reddit, but anyway. So she was on Twitter, I was on Reddit, and across the entire thing, across all of the Attack on Titan platforms, it was like 95 to 98% overwhelmingly positive, and then 2% of people that said, yeah, it sucked, right? It was terrible. One person said, similar to Game of Thrones, you can say that you like the ending, but you cannot say that it was well written, and that person just got eaten alive.
Yeah, like, the themes of Attack on Titan have always been, I mean, like, literally, it is said in the show, they don't even, like, subtext it, they outright write it out in the Lord's plain English to you, or in Japanese, I guess, but, sacrifice is necessary for change on the world. Like, you need to give everything to change the world in a meaningful way, and nowhere is that more apparent than the scene in which Armin is talking to Eren at the end of Attack on Titan, and he's going through and saying everything he wishes he could do that he is no longer able to, just as a means to get the ending that he wanted. Like,
it hurts, dude. It hurts. I love that. I would like to say that to so many manga readers, to say that the ending is bad because it betrays the themes of the story and what Isayama had built up until that point, there are quite literally, I mean this quite literally, hundreds of quotes from different characters throughout the entirety of the story, all 139 chapters of this story, that support the ending. You have Kenny Ackerman saying that the only reason he was able to stay alive was because he was a slave to something. You have, can you think of another quote real quick just to pass it to you? A quote that also supports everything here?
Well, there's the whole speech of Armin saying that he will give his heart and everything. Like, the entire, the Fight My Soldiers speech from Erwin. Like, everything plays into this theme of sacrifice to get to the future that you want. This give everything to build to a point to pass on something to the people that you love. And it is such a beautiful story. And then to have all of that be put into the framework of that eventually, that the things that these people built will no longer be there because of the decisions of people 200, 300 years in the future, however long it is. It makes war as a concept seem so pointless. Because of all the fighting that was done to get to the point of peace, just to see it torn down by people who don't even care. You don't even get the names of the people who do it. You don't get to know anything. You just get to see the effects of it. And that is the most brutally effective scene I was brought to tears multiple times in the episode, don't get me wrong, especially whenever the infant was being passed forward in this vain attempt at keeping it alive as the rumbling was getting closer and closer. Like, it was
seeing the feeling of pointlessness. The feeling of pointlessness watching them hold the infant and try their best to keep it safe. It just broke. It spoke to something inside of me that I don't even fully understand. It was so beautiful.
Like, the colors in the scene highlighting all the innocent children just fighting, tripping, falling, just seeing the pain and suffering that Eren was doing just to get the ending that he wanted, to keep the people he cared about safe in his mind, was so effective. It, like you said, it touched a part of me that I don't think any other piece of media in history has touched before. Like, it was so dude, I'm nearly tearing up just talking about it right now. How effective that was. The score was on point. The animation was beautiful throughout it.
That scene, that was the best part of the rumbling. That was so unbelievable.
Like, seeing the innocent civilians, we don't even know who they are, we don't know their story or anything, just trying to run away and getting the choice of jump off a fucking cliff or be crushed to death it was terrifying. Like, holy
I can't describe it. It was absolutely beautiful, and man, it encapsulated so much. And so, speaking of tearing up, the first time in the episode that I fully just like broke down was, and I don't know if this affected you as it did me. I think my favorite or second favorite scene in the show, for me at least, with you know who my favorite character is.
Yeah.
The conversation between Zeke and Armin just absolutely crushed me.
Yeah. Like, seeing Zeke stand up and just say in his mind, like, it would be too much to ask for, like, even another minute here, and then just Levi killing him right then and there.
Oh, I meant, I'll talk about that in just 1 second. I meant even before that.
I know what you're talking about, whenever they're in the paths and they're just talking between one another. Like, it's a beautiful scene, but, like, the very end of Zeke's arc being him just waving down Levi was so fitting to me.
Okay, to put this into perspective, the only two main characters, the only two, like, named characters in the episode that die are the Yeager brothers, correct?
I believe so, yeah. The only other people who die are, like, the innocents during the rumbling, and I think... No, because the others just get turned into pure titans then reverted.
Yeah, so, for me, my favorite character was Zeke. Zeke's one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. I just remember watching the episode where where it goes into his backstory and explains the euthanasia plan, and it just was so interesting and complex to me. Tie that into his relationship with Grisha and Aaron and his amazing Beast Titan form, and you've simply got the recipe for an amazing character, in my opinion. I went into this episode wanting redemption for Zeke, but knowing that he had to die. And Isayama cooked that for me like an actual souffle, bro. For Zeke to be able for Zeke to stand up and say, for everything, for how much I hate life, I would be fine with being born again if it meant that I could just stand there and play catch with Mr. Casaver for the rest of my life. I would have been content doing that. And then for him to be the one, because he had royal blood, for him to call upon Bertolt and Ymir and Marcel and Grisha and all of them, and to get them to get into their forms and try their best to stop the rumbling. And then for Zeke to essentially commit suicide. I see it as suicide.
Oh, yeah, it's basically suicide by cop at that point. Like, you know this guy's gonna kill you. He hates you with all his being. He has the skill to do it. You just literally call out his name and tell him, hey, I'm right here. That's a suicide. Like, Levi killed him, but that was on Zeke's terms.
Dude, that's what I love for it, because my mom's favorite character is Levi, mine's favorite is Zeke, and we both kind of got what we wanted. Like, I was just insanely happy with it. And Zeke's final line kind of, like, crushed me. The weather's downright lovely. Maybe if only I had realized that sooner.
Like,
just fantastic.
Everything was executed so well. Like, the only part I didn't like, to a certain degree, because I don't want to suck it off too much, because there are flaws here and there, but, like, I don't think that, like, Mikasa being this quote-unquote chosen one aspect was very good, but playing into the themes of the rest of the show, like, it blew it out of the water. I can't be nitpicky enough to say that devalues the absolute 10 out of 10 ending that this masterpiece of a show got.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you, brother. That's actually one of my favorite parts. And real quick, the way that I see it is that Ymir, just real quick, and you may not think about it differently after it didn't really work for me at first, but Ymir essentially had Stockholm Syndrome, which is a pretty irrational thing. And Mikasa, in a way, at this point in her life, also had Stockholm Syndrome. So Ymir was waiting her entire life for a human being who was just as in love, who was just as unbelievably, irrevocably hopelessly in love with someone else as she was to make the decision that she couldn't to let her free. That just works for me. I'm gonna be honest.
The only thing that the only thing that I dislike about it is that I don't think that Ymir's love for King Fritz was very well communicated or developed. It kind of felt
It's
more like
not.
just an abusive relationship, which, like, there's a lot more development between Mikasa and Eren than there is between King Fritz and Ymir. Which I think,
I
like,
agree.
I think that there, like, there's a lot more parallels to me between Ymir and Historia than there are between Ymir and Mikasa.
I agree. I agree. I still just something about it just works for me, and I think that there's some more to think about it. I do agree that Ymir and Fritz's relationship could have been expanded upon, but
Yeah.
I mean, man, just like
Like, you have to get fucking nitpicky to get, like, any criticism of this while being totally fair and not just popular thing bad to me. Like, I'm sure there's legitimate criticism out there and I'm just caught up in the hype. But, I've been caught up in the hype for 3 fucking years now, so, you know, I don't know, sue me.
I've been
It's just a fucking... It's such well thought out storytelling to not only deliver every character moment that a fan could want while simultaneously delivering the best anti-war message you could possibly give in any piece of media I've ever seen before.
it's better anti-war than Code Geass, better than Game of Thrones. It delivers it in an insane way, and for me, I cannot understand people who say that the ending devalues what Eren did. Eren got peace for this small group of people. Can we acknowledge Reiner right quick? What an amazing character.
Yeah. Also, one thing, people who are saying that the post-credit scene means that Floke was right, you're fucking stupid. That does not mean that at all. We don't know who did that attack. Like, it could have been, like, holy shit, saying that Floke was right because of that post-credit scene, it's absurd to me.
I don't understand it at all. I've seen 2 or 3 people saying, "Oh, so Flock was right all along, right?" It's like, no, Flock was a maniac. Flock was driven by completely irrational ideas. Like, he was a loyalist to his country irrationally.
Yeah, like, he was quite literally the supernationalist. He was the fucking fascist. Like,
And he's one of the best written characters in the show, but
definitely.
no, he wasn't
Like,
right.
That doesn't make him right.
Yeah, so like I don't understand that at all. Bro, the shot of
If anything, I would say that the ending actually goes directly against saying that Floke was right, because the passage of time for it to get to that point devalues Floke's position. Because he was saying that it was just going to happen. If we let it go in the next 10, 15 years, we're all going to die. And it shows hundreds of years passing. So, like...
Yeah. No, like, it's like I said before, that looked like the year 2557.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, the final theme of the show, and like the final chapter, is to you 20,000 years from now, or something like that. Which is like, or to you 2,000 years from now, something along those lines, to show that there was a significant passage of time.
The first episode of the series is named "To You in 2,000 Years."
Yeah, but there was like a theme or something. I remember a comment written somewhere that the theme of the like the musical score or something at the very end of the show was "To You 2,000 Years." And I know that musical titles don't really matter as much when they're not in like the manga or whatever the fuck, but just it shows just how long it took for not only the civilization that was built in Paradise afterward to fall, but for the absurd amount of time for the boy to walk into the tree again. Like, everything about the show was leading...
perfect.
It led up to this point so well. And hats off to Isayama. I cannot think it Attack on Titan with this ending has been solidified in the top 3 shows for me of all time, and I don't think it's gonna go anywhere anytime soon.
I could not agree more, man. I just and not to mention, hats off to and I know that there's terrible working conditions with these animators, but I simply, to focus on right now, what you guys did with this, it will never be forgotten. You created a film. That was a film, bro. That was an hour and 25-minute movie. And every single, I mean, it says a lot that after all of that we've talked about, we haven't even discussed the action. Like, the action was some of the best I've ever seen, too.
We're pushing 30 minutes on the topic, but it's a well-deserved 30 minutes on this topic, because I cannot understate the, like, I just, personally, when I'm going into a piece of media, when I'm going into something like this, I'm focused almost entirely on the writing and the story. Demon Slayer gets me hyped, but I can't enjoy it because the writing in there is mid as fuck to me. Like, it's
so bad.
It is the most generic shonen bullshit. Like, if we're looking at just animation, sure, Demon Slayer's peak, but
Yes.
the hype I get from Demon Slayer is gone 5 minutes after the scene is over. The hype I got from Attack on Titan, because of the writing involved with the series, is going to last for years.
Some of these shots are going to stick with me for the absolute rest of my life. Final thing I want to mention, I need for the voice actress who plays Armin Arlert to get some kind of recognition and award. Armin brought me to tears 3 separate times when he was calling himself a piece of shit and a worthless waste of space halfway through the episode. When he finds when he sees Mikasa holding Aaron's head and then completely breaks down. And my favorite scene in the episode, probably, his conversation with Aaron and him finally going in and they embrace each other. And he says that we'll be together forever in hell because I'll shoulder the burden of these lives with you. It just broke me. It broke me. It was beautiful.
Alright. That was a good 5-day wait for that conversation that needed to happen.
And just to be clear, I would like to talk to you some more about it off the podcast. And just to say how good the episode is, we didn't even talk about 50% of the stuff in the episode. So anyway, yeah, go on.
Justin, holy shit. Oh yeah, speaking of animation, do you have this week's Adventure Time update?
I unfortunately have not been watching very much Adventure Time. I've only watched 6 episodes since we talked last. They've been good. I met Prism. He's pretty awesome. I think his name's Prism, right?
Prisma,
yeah.
Oh yeah, you finally got to see the alternative timeline, didn't you?
That was absolutely insane. I loved it. Freaking Finn the human and Jake the dog looking so weird, and the way that the alternate timelines, I could tell that it's doing a really cool multiverse thing. I liked it a lot. Then it got into some goofier episodes, but even the goofier episodes are expanding the world and stuff, like Lady Rainicorn gave birth, and Jake's having to wrestle with being a dad. They're trying to find the Lich. They kind of stopped him, kind of didn't. They used their one wish. Yeah, season 6 has been going great. I'm definitely gonna start cooking on it now that I got Attack on Titan done, and I can just try to focus. I need peak fiction to focus on now that Attack on Titan's done, and I've been told that Adventure Time is peak fiction, and it's been getting amazing.
Adventure Time is one of those other top 3 shows for me, so you have a lot to look forward to. Justin,
I'm so glad
you've been sitting over in the corner, just kind of like, yeah, guys, I'm here for the last 20 minutes. Anything you want to talk about?
Anything at all, dude?
So I've been sitting here patiently waiting. I could be a dick and talk about the Five Nights at Freddy's film, and then have people skip to the other to the end of that topic.
Hey man,
but
if you I know you just skipped here because you skipped the Attack on Titan segment that was 25 minutes long. But if you don't want to hear about the spoilers for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, go to this timestamp. Or listen in. If you bitch about it in the comments, I'm coming to find you.
Alright, anyway. So yeah, over this past week, I watched the Five Nights at Freddy's film. Real quick, do any of you guys even like at least know the lore behind the games?
I know all of the FNAF lore, brother.
Okay, have you seen the film?
I'm not interested. I was not interested in the film. No.
But did you see it, or you just weren't interested? Were you not? Fuck,
Oh,
English,
sorry.
Justin, English.
Oh, no, I didn't see it. Like, I mean, I don't like consider it canon to the original story. So no.
It's not. Okay, so yeah, so but here's the thing: as someone like myself, who's also a big fan of the video game franchise and the story that goes along with it, so Bloomhouse Productions and Scott Cawthon really try to do something different with this one. There's a lot of like actual, parallels between the two stories, but they take a lot of liberties, right? Some good, some bad. For instance, the protagonist of the film is Mike, which, from my understanding, that was the name of the person working in the first game, correct?
I do not remember the name of the random dude from the first one. Is he just a security guard? I can't remember. I'm sorry.
I thought when you beat the game at the end, it gives you a check, and his name's like Mike Smith or something like that. Anyway, so yeah, he's in the film. Mike's in this film, and it's played by I keep forgetting his name, but it's the guy who played in Hunger Games. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah, great fucking actor. I hate myself. I can't remember his name. Anyway, his character in the film is actually pretty fucking cool because his whole character is so he lives by himself, not by himself, but he his sister is his dependent. You know, he's looking after her after both of their parents died, and apparently he suffers through childhood trauma with his youngest brother being kidnapped while they were out camping one day, right? And so he has this theory that if he were to go to sleep, he can actually go to that moment, and even though he doesn't remember offhand who kidnapped him, he thinks that the clues are in the memories. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So throughout the film, like he'll take sleeping medicine to put him to sleep to go back to that time and to like look for clues to see who kidnapped his little brother.
Okay.
And this whole topic, this whole idea plays really well into the main story they got going on here. One big problem though, or one big thing they changed was there was no Fredbear Family Diner.
Ooh.
It was just Fredbear's Pizzeria, and that was it. Or Fazbear Pizzeria. That's it. And the story goes in this one is that Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Freddy were always there, while Spring Bunny was also there, which is William Afton.
Mm-hmm.
And the story is that he kills 5 kids, and of course he stuffs their bodies into the animatronics. Funny enough, the 5th animatronic is the cupcake that Chica holds.
That's kind of cool.
So my question though is, how did he fit the body in that?
Yeah.
It's another question there. But anyway,
With a lot of effort and probably with the help of Freddy himself.
But like
Fredward.
one of my favorite scenes in this film is
Wait,
at the second.
Sorry, just hydraulic press versus 5-year-old child moment. Like, what the fuck?
Who will win?
Jesus Christ. Anyway, no, there's a moment though. So first off, what makes Mike get this job is that he loses his job as a security guard at a mall because he thought a kid was getting kidnapped, and it wasn't that situation at all. Just the father was coming to get the kid, and Mike thought kid's being kidnapped, so he tackles the father into a fucking fountain and beats the fuck out of him. So he gets fired. He goes to as a job search kind of thing, and of course his interviewer is Matthew Lillard.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, and he has some really fucking great lines. Like he reads off all the shit that he's done wrong, all the jobs that he's had that he's quit or got fired from, and like there's one line where he's like, You know, Mike, considering your background, I would say your options were very limited.
I can tell that
But
Matthew Lillard delivered that really well.
he did. Anyway, so he reads his files, and all of a sudden he gets shocked by the name, and he's like, you know what? I got an idea. I got an idea for you. This old pizzeria that used to open years ago. I just need you to guard it. You know, make sure nobody goes in and whatnot. Right? He goes, "What's the pay? How's the pay?" He goes, "It's bad, and the hours, they're even worse."
Mm-hmm.
So there's like that's one thing about the Freddy, the Finance of Freddy's film is that it's more funny than horror. Even though there are moments where it's like I'm surprised it got a PG-13 rating.
I've heard that it's incredibly gory in certain scenes.
Oh my god. Okay, so to build up to that scene, okay, so the first night that Mike spends there, he sleeps and he goes back to that dream, right? But the dream doesn't end. It keeps going for a little bit. He turns to look behind him and there's 5 kids.
Oh damn!
He's confused as fuck. He's like, did you guys see who it was? Do you guys know who it was?" And they start running off. And then Mike wakes up, right? So he's like, "What the fuck?" The second night, he does the same thing. The same situation happens. He, wakes up or he sleeps. He sees the kids. He starts chasing after one of them. The one that is presumed to be Foxy, and apparently the kid had a hook, which makes sense. Scratches Mike. Mike wakes up. There's a bang at the door. It's all growing crazy. He goes to the front door. There's an officer there, and he lets the officer in, and she tells him all the backstory and whatnot. At first, I was thinking like, is her whole character development, her whole character thing, is just to give us lore? Is that it?
That's a criticism I felt that they added a character to just like to basically be a YouTuber and be like, hey, here's some FNAF lore for you.
But wait, it actually does play into the story.
Okay.
So anyway, one of the funniest moments, one of the greatest moments, is that she actually goes up to the stage, presses the button to get the animatronics to sing and dance, and they sing the song "Talking in Your Sleep" by the Valentines. Which is a very subtle hint to the audience that the kids in the dream are the animatronics.
Oh, it's cool that they foreshadowed that. I mean, that's kind of that's kind of common knowledge at this point, though. That that's like the first thing you learn when you get into FNAF lore.
But that's the thing, though, is this film, like, I understand that it's for the fans, but there's still an element there that has to lead you,
like,
in case you're new to it.
Personally, I've played the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, and I played it when I was like 14 and never completed it. So if I went into the movie theater and the movie had expected me to just know this shit, I would have been completely lost. So
okay,
having a situation where it's like the TV series Arcane, where it respects you as a viewer, but says, hey, this is the backstory to these characters. We're going to present the backstory as if you don't know it, is a positive to me, just due to the fact that any new viewer who's in a position similar to me in that instance is going to get much more out of the story than otherwise, as well as it plays towards the fans like, yeah, we're acknowledging this. So
I completely understand that from that point of view. I would like to say that I personally think that most art forms are generally best enjoyed in the original medium in which they were conceived for. And as such, I personally, I will still check out the movie, but I really do think that it's just a story that is better experienced, like finding the Easter eggs in the games, and so like piecing together William Afton and his motivations is just so fun in a video game sense, whereas in a movie, just having it told to you would be a lot less satisfying. So I think that FNAF works better as a video game. But hey, if you like the movie, I'm sure I can check it out and try some fun with it.
But the moments where it does get kind of gory, all right? Mm-hmm. So the big antagonist, other than William Afton, is Mike's aunt, because Mike's aunt wants to take custody of his sister, right? So she starts framing him to make him look like a bad guardian. One of these tactics is that she hires his babysitter and her boyfriend to go break into Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria destroy the fucking place and make it seem like he was incompetent in his job. You see what I'm saying? And they break in during the day, which I feel like that shouldn't have been on Mike's responsibility because Mike was only hired to do the night shift. So if anything happens during the day, whose fault is that?
Yeah, that's kind of an incompetent writing moment.
But anyway, so they go in there and start breaking shit. And of course, the animatronics, they don't like that shit. And like, even though there's like not a lot of jump scares, it's just the setting is very eerie. Like it does kind of put you in a very unnerving sense, right?
Oh yeah.
And one guy gets fucking attacked by Chica's cupcake. Like it's mauling his fucking face off. One guy gets fucking locked in a closet where Bonnie just fucking strangles him and kills him. And one of the craziest scenes is the babysitter, Mike's babysitter, is lured into a costume room where, like, I guess, I'm not sure if, I can't remember if it was the original Freddy or the golden Freddy that was there. And pretty much she was lured in by a ghost kid. And she walks in there and she's like, "Where are you? What are you doing? Where are you at?" And the kid's like calling for her from inside one of the suits. It's like, come here, come look inside, come look inside. And like she gets really close to the fucking mouth, and the kid reaches out from the mouth, grabs her, pulls her in, and the teeth chomp her right fucking in half.
Thought this was PG-13, my son.
And that's the thing, is blood splatters everywhere. There's a scene where you can see the torso and shit. I was like, damn. I was like, PG-13 has changed a lot since I was growing up.
When I was a kid, you'd go to see a PG-13 movie. It would have like one mention of ass. Someone might slap someone. These days, it's just Full Metal Jacket. Like
it really is.
These days, you're just going to see Jaws at this point, brother.
But it was a good scene. And I'll go ahead and say this real quick. There's one scene that's getting a lot of criticism. Mike's sister actually starts forming a friendship with the animatronics. Like they go to the restaurant and like they're playing with each other, like building a fort when like kids, right? And they're saying that kills the whole pace of the film. In my opinion, I liked it because it still shows you that these animatronics are kids.
I don't personally like it as someone who knows those kids and like their characters, but I mean they're like tortured souls. But hey, it's whatever. I mean it's a movie, different rules.
But
I'm glad you had fun with it, man.
Not only that, but I'll go and spoil the end. I'll spoil the ending because I'm pretty sure. I mean, I already said William Afton. He shows up eventually.
Yeah, for my sake, I know we just spoiled the entirety of Attack on Titan for you, but at the same time, we've been trying to get you to watch that shit for months. I'm planning to watch this movie later. I'm just gonna take off my headset for a good 3 minutes here. You do you.
All right then.
Just
Do you
message me
want to
when
take
you
it
get
off?
done.
I'll text you when. Yeah, I will. Anyway, so Ian, so how did they lead up to the ending here? Ian, is that the ghost kids offer to Mike, hey, you know what? You can go back to in the past and where nothing bad ever happened, but you have to give us something in return. And Mike's like, what is that? And they go, we want your sister. We want Abby.
Mm-hmm.
And like a dumbass, Mike goes, okay. But then he goes, wait a minute. I don't want this. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And they start just fucking, they start wanting to kill him, of course. At one point, we think Mike dies, but then he gets rescued by the police officer mentioned earlier. While he's getting rescued, Golden Freddy is kidnapping Abby from her home. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And come to find out, the reason why Vanessa, the police officer, knows everything about what's going on in the restaurant, knows everything about the animatronics, is because she is William Afton's daughter.
Interesting.
And at first we're all like, what the fuck? That's kind of a shocker. And so they all go back to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza to go rescue her. And of course, the way how they say they can stop the animatronics for a few seconds is by shocking them. It makes sense. Majority of it is circuitry. I get it. And there's one scene where there's a very scary scene between Abby and Foxy. Like Foxy's doing that little that's that song he makes.
The little tinkling little sound. I know what you mean.
Yeah, he's doing that the whole time. And, eventually she gets rescued by Vanessa. And so Vanessa, Abby, and Mike turn around at the door, and guess what happens? Fucking William Afton comes popping out.
Damn.
And he's dressed up in the fucking spring trap, the spring Bonnie outfit, right? And it's a very awesome, badass scene. It looks fucking wonderful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he starts fighting Mike. They're going at it and whatnot. Vanessa steps in and says, "Dad, I'm not gonna let you do this, right?" And then Afton takes off the fucking mask, or the helmet, and it's fucking Matthew Lillard.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So when Matthew played the character at the beginning of him being the guy that assigned him to the restaurant, the plot now is that he killed the 5 kids. He wants to keep killing, but he makes the animatronics do it for him.
I don't like that at all. But if
I don't either.
If it worked, okay. I was about to say if it worked for the movie, that's fine. I don't like that.
I mean, for the film, it works okay, but just knowing how it should have gone, that's not correct, right?
It is saddled to the fact that the movie is connected to 9 games worth of story, and that's just unfortunate.
And at one point, Vanessa really tries to stop him and whatnot, and William Afton even says, "Listen, you had 1 job, or he had 2 jobs. You had to make sure that keep him in the dark and kill him if you got too close." So this whole time, Vanessa was on the whole thing. She knew that Mike was going to get killed.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole time, she's playing like nothing bad's going to happen. Or everything's fine and shit. Like, and just keep that little bit of information in your mind. Anyway, so soon the animatronics come back, and they're all surrounding a circle around Mike and Vanessa. And, Vanessa gets stabbed by William and Abby. Now, keep this in mind. Through the FNAF lore, all the ghosts still hate Afton. They want to kill him, right?
Yes.
But apparently in this film, all the drawings on the wall still have Spring Bunny as the good guy, as holding hands and whatnot. And so the ghost kids can't remember who killed them, apparently. I don't like that either. That's just how the film goes. And finally, Abby takes a brand new piece of paper and draws Spring Bunny killing all 5 of the kids. And then all the animatronics are like, "Oh, wait, it's you. You're the fucker." Like, what?
Yeah, it kind of seems like it falls apart a little bit towards the end there, not gonna lie.
And then, of course, though, one of the greatest moments is they start circling around him, and Afton's like, "I created you. You're all a bunch of bags of bolts, where the fuck?" And, of course, a cupcake jumps at him, bites him in the side. He throws the fucking cupcake off. And, of course, you know how the spring animatronics work. You know how the we call that. It malfunctions, and of course you see the fucking claws and shit, or the shell like going into his body and shit.
For gore purposes, that's awesome. Like I said, I think it's cool as a spectacle. I think that I prefer to enjoy the story through getting to know it slowly through the course of the games. But maybe if it gets other people into the franchise and they at least understand that it's not like canon to what Scott Cawthon wrote, that's fine. And I'm glad you enjoyed
That's the thing, though, is Scott Cawthon himself, like, co-wrote this film. So I think...
Co-wrote.
He co-wrote, but he also helped produce. Like, he had his hands all over this thing. And I legit think he tried to make a film that was more engaging than the games were. The games are engaging, it's just there's a lot to learn. You know what I'm saying?
In the games, the games don't tell you the story. In the games, you have to go out of your way for the story, and I think that FNAF story doesn't work if you tell it in a straightforward way.
Exactly. And so...
we need to stop. We've been talking about Five Nights at Freddy's for 30 minutes.
Oh, have we? Oh, shit. Okay.
Yes.
I got bored and put my headset on like
right.
5 seconds ago just to hear Ian say we need to stop, so that was good timing.
That was really good timing. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
I've been dying to talk about the Amazing Digital Circus for like 2 weeks now. I know that Ian, you said you watched it. Justin, did you?
I did not.
You
Justin!
little whore. And I listened to the new Beatles song for you.
It wasn't good, Justin.
The fuck you mean it wasn't good?
It was mid as shit. The production was garbage. Friggin' garbage.
The fuck you mean it was garbage?
I even watched the little documentary, the 14-minute thing. It's beautiful. The fact that they got John's lyrics and Ringo and Paul got to throw down stuff on it. Freaking, they used that amazing slide guitar thing for that George Harrison wrote like 10 years ago. But the song just wasn't very good. Even John knew it wasn't very good.
The Beatles isn't really my thing. I'm more.
Whoa, okay, never mind. I take back everything I said.
Listen.
What is the matter with you, bro?
No, what I'm saying is that I'm much more in line with the likes of like Queen or Billy Joel or something like that from that era than I am the Beatles. But compared to the other Beatles songs, if it weren't for the story around it, I don't think it would get half as much praise or attention as it's gotten. Like, it's no Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds to me, you know?
A couple of years ago, I ranked all the. It took me like 48 hours, but I listened to in order for the 1000th time and ranked every Beatles song. And I think Now and Then would be like somewhere in the 300s. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you.
Like, listen, like I legitimately, I absolutely love the song. I think it's great, and especially I think it's a great song to end on.
There's already great
Like,
songs to end on in the Beatles discog. They literally, the final song on the last album they recorded is literally called The End. That is a great song to end on.
Wait, are you sure about that?
Yes, Abbey Road is the final album that the Beatles recorded, and the last song on the album is called The End.
Okay, yes. Okay, it's the last song they recorded, but it's not the last song they released.
I mean, that doesn't matter.
Remember, they recorded
the last album.
They recorded
Get Back is a mid-tier album. I'm sorry, Let It Be, and it's just okay. It's not great.
Okay, but that's the point though. Is Abbey Road?
All right.
Abbey Road.
I've been dying to talk
first.
about this fucking pilot episode for 3 weeks. I will not be cucked by the Beatles.
Get cooked briefly. I'm sorry. Get cooked just slightly briefly. Justin, cook quick. Go quick. I'm saying you're wrong,
Okay.
Justin.
Anyway, I'm just saying the Now and Then is not the best Beatles song, but it's a really good song.
I think the slide guitar is great. I think that John's weird little AI vocals aren't great. However, I love the
AI
Beatles
vocals.
They used AI to take the little voice that they couldn't hear over the piano. Did you watch the documentary?
Yeah, they outright said it.
I did.
And the thing is, like, I kind of laughed at that part because I made a joke whenever this AI voice shit came out that John Lennon was going to make a new song, and now I feel like a fucking prophet. Like,
yeah, no,
but the thing though, but it's not like, okay, that's different because the AI singing thing that's crazed nowadays is that they will take a vocal performance and then they'll put someone else's voice over it. This is John Lennon's voice and his vocal performance. Just it's him. It's not someone else singing for him, and they put a John Lennon filter over it.
It is John Lennon singing over a piano that he is playing extremely loudly, and they used an AI algorithm to take the voice and to make it sound more full. I did not say it was completely AI. I said I don't like the way that it sounds. I don't like the song, brother. I don't.
all right. Well, the Amazing Digital Circus. I have a lot of good things to say about the Amazing Digital Circus. I'll wait a little bit to hear what you guys are saying. Like I said, Ian, you said you watched it and you loved it. You want the floor?
Yeah, I didn't absolutely love it, but yeah, I liked it. I thought it was cute, quirky. The lore feels like it's about to go really hard, not gonna lie. The main character is just adorable.
The person who designed Pomni Gooseworks, they struck gold on that one because she has exploded all over the fucking internet. Everybody seems to love Pomni. My favorite joke so far made about it is a little one panel comic thing where Kane's Pomni, do that thing the audience loves so much, and she's just in the background having a mental breakdown.
Yeah, I mean, her mental state is pretty entertaining, not gonna lie.
Like, seeing her over the course of the episode just kind of coming to terms with, oh yeah, I'm fucked. It was so cool to see a character just kind of be like, oh, this is real. I'm gonna be here forever. Oh,
and
no.
everyone else is like, Yeah, no, seeing it set it, and especially the last scene at the dinner table where it focuses on her eyes, and you just see how uncomfortable she is with everything. But the cast seems cool too. I really like Kane. Um, there's one guy who's kind of a dick. He was kind of
Jax.
likable. Yes, there's a ragdoll. I generally thought the cast was really cool. I can't wait to see more of them.
I have a couple of theories already brewing in my mind and such. I think that Jax probably has something to do with it because he seems to be a bit more comfortable than the others with some of the shit. He has like just some of the dialogue kind of points to him having a bit more to do with it than otherwise saying things like, "Oh, I have a key to everybody's room." Talking about how he's hungry and Kangaroo just looks like, "Well, we're not like we can't actually get hungry. Like it's impossible for us to get hungry." And he's like, "So what? I'm still hungry." Like, there's stuff in it that makes me think a little bit more about his character than otherwise, but I could just be overthinking shit.
I really don't think that you're overthinking it. I think that they are going to pull. I think that they're going to build this up as kind of goofy and then make it more serious and more interesting and lore heavy and story heavy as it goes along.
I mean, the final shot with Your New Home playing in the background, which, by the way, amazing OST throughout the episode. But the final shot as it zooms in on Pomni doing her final breakdown as her smile slowly spreads across her face is pretty much a one-to-one shot with the Last Supper painting, which is
That's awesome.
like, it is very heavy on what seems to be a lot of references to the Bible throughout it. C&A, the company with Cain being the ringleader, seems to point to Cain and Abel. Like, there's a lot throughout it that gives a ton of like little theories and such. On a side note, I actually went on Gooseworks, the creator of the show's Twitter, and it is one of the most entertaining Twitter pages I've ever seen, seeing her like just begging Matt Pat not to release a film theory on her child.
That's amazing, dude. He is really going to run this show into the ground. I think he's already released an Amazing Digital Circus video.
He
hasn't
did.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
He released it in between her begging, and it was a fucking phenomenal reveal. She went through the 5 stages of grief like on her fucking feed.
That's amazing. That sucks so bad. I hate that Matt Pat's gonna ruin this for everyone. And like I don't even hate him, but my god, he's so cringe.
I liked game theory whenever it first came out, but some of the theories on there are so fucking reaching, dude. Like I can't really watch them anymore just because I'm like, how do you come to that fucking conclusion? What is the tiny piece of evidence that you took to come to that conclusion?
Yeah, and I love theories. I think they're super interesting, but like they're great. But like you get to a point where it's just fan canon, like, and fan canon is only good when it's supported by the creator in some way.
Yeah, Matt Pack, good on you for getting the fucking bag. You basically own part of the fucking internet now. But at the same time, there's a lot of theories. I couldn't help but take a look into the Amazing Digital Circus episode that got released just because I saw the meltdown. I needed to see what the fuck he did to this pilot. And it was... some of them are a bit reaching because there has been like 0 lore that has been revealed for the Amazing Digital Circus. We basically know that these are people trapped in a literal digital circus that are unable to leave. That is the lore that we know. If you go completely insane and lose all hope, you get abstracted. There's some pictures of doors with people crossed out on them, and one of them kind of looks like Kinger, but a queen piece instead. And that's the extent that we know.
Like there's simply not enough to get ultra hyped about yet, even though it was great. Like Matt was just doing it for the clicks. I gotta be real. There's not enough there.
Yeah. And I'm fine with clickbaiting. I'm fine with getting in there early, and because it's a hot topic show coming out right now. So of course, every YouTuber under the sun, especially a theory channel like Film Theory, is gonna do a thing on it. But some of his theories in that video are just so absurd. Like, he doesn't hit the ones that sound more plausible to me, like the he references the Cain and Abel thing, but he completely skips over the Last Supper situation at the end of it. He says that, and I quote, "They're not actually humans in this thing. They're the consciousness of these humans being copied and put into the digital circus, and the humans get up and leave, and the consciousness remains inside the computer, and that's why they can't leave." Like, oh, you just pulled that one out of your fucking ass. Like, that's not a fucking way. Like, that takes away from the story, if anything.
Yeah, no, like, and not to mention, I just, like, I don't want a theory craft yet. I just want to, like, I want it to build itself up first.
Yeah. Theory crafting is fine with a story
Any
like
news on
this.
episode 2?
Glitchworks, from what I've seen, looking at the dates of the Murder Drones launch, usually they have like a month or two between episodes, kind of like Hell of a Boss. So it'll probably be about another month or so before episode 2 launches.
Okay, that's fine. Still, really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
That, I, just very quickly, Justin, I did want to say, to retract something I said earlier, while I do not like the song, the little 14-minute documentary I absolutely adored.
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
Seeing Paul and Ringo like alive, like seeing Paul and Ringo alive again. What am I saying?
Yeah, we can fix that.
Seeing Paul and Ringo raised from the dead to make a song just really worked for me. Oh my god. I don't think they're dead.
The 38th special part 2 from Ian.
Rest in peace to my boys. But yeah, I thought that was good. I didn't want to be so harsh on the song, Justin. It disappointed me.
Did you see the music video for the song?
No.
It's I mean, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to show off the goofy side of the Beatles, but it's kind of cringe.
Aww.
Especially after it kind of came out that John Lennon was a massive piece of shit in his life. It doesn't really sit well with knowing how hard John Lennon beat the fuck out of his first wife and his child.
Well, I don't know about beating them, but I do know for a fact that one day John Lennon's first wife said that she came back home to their house, and Yoko was kind of there. And John was like saying like, "So how are we gonna go about this?" And she's like, "What? What are you talking about?"
And,
like, just like that's kind of fucked.
I mean, like, it's common knowledge that John's a piece of shit, but he's also like a musical genius.
Also, it's fairly open that John was abusive as fuck to Cynthia. Like, there was an interview that took place like 2 days before his death that she said he was a quote unquote hitter. Like,
oh god.
He beat her like a fucking punching bag. Like, it's not a secret. You can Google it right now. I think he actually admits to it. He actually admitted to it at one point.
Turns out there's like hints and secrets in all the lyrics. It's like, here comes the sun, do 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 do. I'm gonna beat your ass and you're gay. It's alright. Why did he call her gay? Where did that come from?
Holy shit, Ryan's telling the truth.
I mean, yeah, Justin, yeah. I mean,
did you not know that he beat his wife?
I did not know.
Justin, John is a bad man. Like, he was a dick to everyone in the Beatles too.
The actual quote when I put up on Google was, his first wife, Cynthia Lennon, opened up about his physical abuse, and the musician admitted that he was a hitter during an interview that took place just 2 days before his death. He admitted that.
Yeah. Ringo is like the only one
It kind of makes you wonder why he got shot.
Although I will say, Ian, I do like the subtle hints throughout your rendition of "Here Comes the Sun."
I thought they were pretty.
Dinner's
subtle, you know?
not done.
Do-do-do-do. Dinner's not done, and I say, it's all right.
Dude, like fucking, can you imagine like
Here
this
comes
whole
the
time
belts.
we've been
Do-do-do-do.
Here comes the
No,
Bill Tenacity. Go on.
look, can you fucking imagine like all this time? like-
Imagine there's no heaven. Take this
Oh my God,
punch,
come on
you
now.
bitch.
Anyway, can you imagine like the idea that back in the day there was a big theory of Paul is dead, and you would listen to records and play it backwards, and you could hear hidden messages. What if it wasn't meant towards Paul? It was actually Cynthia.
Oh my god, bro, I can see it.
We've got it all wrong, boys. We've had it wrong all this time.
Dude, there's so
Hearing Justin come to terms with the fact that John Lennon like beat the fuck out of Cynthia over the last 3 minutes. Like, you went through the stages of grief faster than Gooseworks did when Pat released his fucking film theory. You were so like, holy fuck, Ryan isn't lying for once. He's not gaslighting me. He actually did that.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away, so I punched Cynthia in the face. Oh, I believe. I know Paul wrote that, but it just works.
This doesn't make me feel so sad about the Beatles, because my favorite was Paul all along.
Yeah, no, Paul is a goat.
Yeah, he's a goat.
Love
Admittedly, like John did win some points when it turned out he beat the fuck out of women, but like
Oh.
I think that this sing.
Paul. What? I was okay. So for context, I had to adjust my headset, so I was legitimately confused as to whether that's what you were saying or not. I was like, what just happened? I don't think he earned any points there at all. My God. I can't stop making like John beating his wife lyrics in my head with Beatles songs now, because I know all like 400 of them, and it works really well.
It's so perfectly in tune.
Like it's like he needed for me to believe this.
Lucy in the sky with black eyes.
Da da da. Lucy in the sky. I am the Eggman. You are the Eggman. Then he just stops singing and beats the shit out of her.
Yeah,
It's just not even a lyric. He just does it.
It's just, I am the Eggman. I am the Eggman. You burnt the eggs, man. Get the fuck back here! I told you, sunny side up.
I told you if they weren't sunny side up, there would be consequences. I made it rather clear, didn't I?
It's like a fucking James Bond villain.
John looks like he could have played a James Bond villain.
And here's another clue for you all. I beat her down in the hall.
Justin trying to join in on this bit, and I can hear in his voice how guilty he feels just saying that out loud.
Yep.
He's too pure for this world. Too pure for this joke.
It hurts, but it hurts so good.
It's
Like,
Can we now think of like any Beatles song that legit had any like hidden meaning of John Lennon being a abuser?
now that I can probably think. Oh, no, I can absolutely. Run for your life. It's the 13th song off of Rubber Soul. You better run for your life if you can, little girl. Hide your head in the sand, little girl. Catch you with another man. That's the end.
When did
little
John
girl.
leave her for Yoko? When was that?
That would have been. I believe that was right before Sergeant Pepper, but I couldn't be 100% sure. It was. I think it was.
That's true. That makes sense then.
Yeah. I mean,
It
really
also
sucks.
doesn't help that Yoko Ono was just as terrible of a person as John Lennon. Like,
She's so bad. She's such a bad person.
Have you guys seen the live performance with John Lennon and Chuck Berry
No,
when they
that's
performed Johnny Be Good?
Chuck Berry is such
Okay.
a bad person as well. Why do we keep mentioning the pieces of shit?
But hold on. This is funny as hell. Okay, so this is like back when John was still with Yoko, and or that they first got together, whatever. And Yoko, we understand now that she's a musician, and she was back then. She tried to be her own person, but that didn't work out very well. Anyway, so yeah, apparently John was playing Johnny Be Good with Chuck Berry. Everything's going good, and Yoko Ono had a fucking fucking bongo, where the fuck with her, just hitting on it the whole time, just hitting on it the whole time. And out of nowhere, they're singing the song, and then fucking Yoko takes the microphone and she goes,
She just pulls a Randy.
like she makes it, and like you see the look in Chuck Berry's eyes. He's like, "What the fuck is that?"
And then Chuck Berry went on like 2 days later to shit on a child and then recorded.
But wait. In that same performance, she tries to do it a second time, but someone from the sound equipment area, they unplugged her fucking microphone finally, right before she did it, right? So technically, there were 3 legends on that set that day: Chuck Berry, John Lennon, and the sound guy.
Yeah, no, Yoko really, she was just such a weird person. Like, I'm generally
isn't she
down for all
still
kinds
alive?
of art, but
Yeah, she is.
I think, yeah.
You kept saying it in past tense. She was such a weird person. Like, did I miss some good news? Like,
No, I'm sorry. I just, it just feels like she should be dead. I don't know if that sentence made sense, but that's the
Well,
one I
she's
went with.
90,
That's okay.
so-
What?
I don't know. No,
She's
not
90.
that. Okay. Yeah.
dude, she was 12 when the bombs dropped. Like,
That's wild. Freaking, oh my god.
do you think maybe that event, maybe she was like nearby, and the super cancer that was emitted into her body may have like changed some shit, and that's why she's so fucked in the head?
Shit, I
Hey,
don't
real
know,
quick,
bro. I don't
I'm gonna
know.
send this to you guys real quick. I want to get a live reaction. Okay.
Is it the
I'm
screaming
gonna
thing?
send this
'Cause
to you.
I've
I
already
need-
seen it.
Oh, you've already seen it?
Yeah, I've already seen. Like, it's hilarious. Don't get me wrong. I'll gladly watch it again, but I've seen Chuck Berry's shocked eyes go wide. Yeah, you can tell he was not prepared for this.
It was not. Ian, do you have it loaded up?
Do you have like the actual time? Oh, the most replayed moment is probably it. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, it started at like 151, around there, 151.
I'm sorry, I just got done looking at the thing that Ryan sent like earlier. I gotta go just one second. Okay, I'm starting.
At 151, 3,
151.
2, 1, go. His fucking eyes. She said, dude, I forgot how much she sounds like a cat being thrown in the washing machine. Like,
I'm sorry, but
she's
what
just
is
hitting
he in
the
her?
drum. Look at the dude that's just staring at her next to her, hitting his little fucking drum. Like, he's trying to
He's like, what
play
the
it
fuck
off
just
so
happened?
much.
She sounds like an armadillo being given a coat hanger abortion. That's
Fucking
awful.
I like how Chuck Berry's next line of the song, by the way, is "Oh, help me!"
I'm going back and re-listening to it.
All right, real quick, guys, real quick. Go to 5:30. You're gonna see the attempt that she tries to make at the second time, and she just sits there like a silhouette trying to speak into a microphone, and there's nothing there.
5:30, 3, 2, 1, go. She's just going in the background.
She's cooking.
Is she deep throating that fucking thing?
Bro,
Look,
she's
her
cooking.
lips
She's
went
cooking.
around it for a second there.
She really was.
You know the moment when Chuck Berry, Chuck Berry's shaking his head no, he's shaking it right at her.
Once again, Chuck Berry was a terrible man. So we can laugh, but you know.
To be fair, outside of this specific video, I've never really seen much of Chuck Berry, so I like how the number one recommended thing to me right now is 10 reasons why Yoko Ono is hated. Thanks, YouTube. Your algorithm's getting a bit more accurate to my interests.
A bit more accurate to me.
Mine was John Lennon and Chuck Berry's duet was destroyed by Yoko Ono.
Yeah, by DJ Gary from Starlight Music. Shout out to him.
Oh my god. Freaking. This is great.
It's always a good day when we get to make fun of Yoko Ono.
That means every day's a good day because I always start my day like just completely and totally taking the piss out of Yoko Ono. I wake up, I pull up a picture of her, and I just insult it for 10 minutes, and it's cathartic.
And you didn't even
I have
care
a
about
bad
the Beatles
day,
that
like
much.
I'm driving to like Taco Bell or some shit, and some retard cuts me off on the fucking freeway. I just go home and I pull up a picture of Yoko Ono, and I abuse it like John Lennon abused Cynthia. Like, it is...
Bro. My god. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me? When I'm 64.
When I'm 64.
You whore. Da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. Freaking bro. That magical mystery tour was going all the way to the mental asylum for Cynthia, bro. That's all I'm saying, bro.
The worst
Rest in
part of
peace.
that story, by the way, is that apparently Paul, like, knew, and he was trying desperately the entire time they were, like, on tour and shit to, like, help out John's wife and kid to, like, stop the fucking abuse, but he just couldn't.
That
That's the
sucks so
sad
bad.
part.
John's over here just like, Paul, I swear to God, if you try to do something here, I'm going to pick your ass.
Okay, that is
Why
not
is he Australian?
that is not a Liverpool
That-
people
that
sound
was-
like this.
That
just
wasn't Australian. That was
What the fuck?
You were about to get sniped from the sniped in a Texas roadway. Like, that was fucking JFK.
that was literally just John F. Kennedy, not gonna
My
lie.
fellow Americans. I am the most open-minded president there is.
Yeah, he
I
was,
f-
like, I can just now I've got a fucking image of JFK stepping in and threatening to beat fucking Cynthia Lennon, like just looking Paul dead in the eyes and going, look at here, you British little shit. I can beat this woman if I want.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Marilyn Monroe, mid-tier head, not great head. Not gonna lie. Decent head.
Excuse me, Mr. Lennon. I heard you need some assistance with Cynthia. I have the type man of this. I can't.
You can't. I can't anymore either. Poor JFK.
What other presidents can we impersonate and ruin their legacy right now? Who else can we do that to?
My fellow Americans.
And there's Obama.
I got some bomb ass head from Yoko Ono 2 hours ago, and she started screaming, and I was a little freaked out. Not gonna lie, but it was kind of hot. That was
My
good.
fellow Americans, allow me to say that me and Gorbachev have reached an agreement.
The agreement is to resurrect John Lennon so we can beat all of our wives for the honor. Wait, is this just a thing now? Are we gonna constantly reference John Lennon beating women?
I guess so. I don't know.
John Lennon's down in hell, like beating the fuck out of Queen Elizabeth II right now.
Listen here, you dumb bitch. I wanted my eggs.
That's not John Lennon.
It's
Listen here, you-
JFK again. Why is it still JFK?
Why is he down there?
We can't do a John Lennon. We just do a JFK instead.
How did JFK get down there? I'm trying to find out, bro.
I guess
No, he's
St.
in-
Peter
he's
was
in
like
hell right
racist
now.
or some shit like this is what you get for the Civil Rights Act, you little shit. Wait,
You
why is
little
St. Peter JFK now?
Oh my god, bro.
Fucking
What?
JFK's in
This
hell right
whole
now, just
world is
finally.
just JFK. We're all JFK.
The real JFK were the bullets we took along the way.
Can we please do an episode where we all just speak like JFK?
My name is Randy, and I'm here to talk to you about some spicy fucking noodles. Not gonna lie, pretty bussin'.
My fellow Americans, I'd like to tell you all about this new thing I call. I can't do it.
I'd like to
can't-
tell you all
I
about
can't
this.
do the
His
JFK
fucking
laughing.
accent stuck in my head. I can't get it out. It's like a parasite.
My fellow Americans, I gotta be honest. That was some really good bussy. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie, my fellow Americans. It was pretty good.
My fellow Americans, I have learned that when you listen to classical music, you start on the Bach and you end on the Bussy.
You start the bucket in
My fellow Americans, Lee Harvey Oswald gave me a mind-blowing blowjob out of the fucking Texan highway.
My fellow Americans, John Lennon did nothing wrong. John did nothing wrong.
My fellow Americans, allow me to say that my former opponent, Richard Nixon, is a great man.
An excellent.
Is that the whole?
Nothing wrong.
Is that the whole bit for you, Justin? Was that?
Yeah,
it?
the bit is that he's a great man, but JFK was in on Watergate somehow.
He was?
No, he wasn't.
Why did I say he was? Oh, really? I am so impressionable.
Oh, really?
If someone said, "Hey, Abraham Lincoln started slavery," I'd be like, "Damn, that bastard!" Like, what is the
Why'd
matter
you have
with
to
me?
go
Well,
there?
you know, he did
Why'd
have
you
a
have to go
plan
there?
to like send all the African Americans over to Africa after the end of the Civil War.
Are you kidding?
No, that's a real thing.
That sucks so bad. Obviously, I'm joking, but like, if this wouldn't have caught me, I would have been like, "Damn, like he's got a point. That sucks." Like, I've got to stop letting you guys trick me. My dad is a huge historian, and he does it all the time. It sucks. I hate how
yeah,
little
here,
I know
let me
about it.
Send over the link. Lincolnia.
To what? Oh wait, you weren't joking.
Yeah, not here.
Shit.
We're so used to your gaslighting.
Background: Lincoln desired to return former slaves to Africa or other tropical regions with their consent to the accord of the authorities of the country where they were to be settled. He repeated his support for colonization numerous times, including during the American Civil War. Basically, his idea was that slavery was so bad that our relations can never be returned to normal, and so the only way for society to move forward would be a complete and total separation.
Damn. I'm just not gonna comment on that. I'll be honest. That is extremely complex.
Yeah. It
Like,
wasn't it wasn't like
touch
sending them
that.
back because I hate them. It was sending them back because we fucked up so much that we need to that this shit's just doomed.
Damn.
It's so sad that fucking Abraham Lincoln gets linked with JFK all the time.
Well, you know they do have some parallels.
Okay, but so there are some parallels that are like really like they're pretty cool coincidences. I'm not gonna lie, but other ones are just not that impressive.
I mean, like, there's the obvious things, like they were both massive reformist presidents fighting against a racist institution that end up getting shot in the head. So, like, those are like the main three, and it's the easiest connection to make. The other stuff is just very muddled.
I don't know much about
Like
the
one I
connections.
thought, like one connection I saw someone try to make that was kind of ridiculous was the what was it that Abraham Lincoln was shot in a theater, and John Wilkes Booth was found in a warehouse, and Lee Harvey Oswald shot Kennedy in a Lincoln. No, wait. Oh, Lee Harvey Oswald shot from a warehouse and was found in a theater. Like that was the correlation. But it I don't consider what John Wilkes Booth I don't consider what he was found in to be a warehouse. It's more like a fucking shed.
There's also, like, that at that point, you're just trying to find things. Like, they were just two presidents that tried to end a terrible thing that ended up getting shot. Like,
What's ironic though is it wasn't like their names, Abraham Lincoln and JFK, like didn't they have the same amount of letters in each name?
I feel like that's a pointless connection to make, but
Okay, no.
that's
He's
kinda
cooking.
cool.
He's cooking. My complete inability to think for myself
the
when it
fact
comes to
that-
my complete inability to think for myself when it comes to history is really hidden right now because I believe everything Justin's saying.
Or the fact that
putting on the fucking
it's
tinfoil
also-
hat.
it's also kind of weird how both their assassinators were known by their three names. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Lee Harvey Oswald, John Wilkes Booth. Pretty cool guy. Pretty cool
Yeah.
names, not gonna lie.
we're coming up. We're running out of time here, but for the last little bit, I just wanted to say that because we're talking about Abraham Lincoln, there's a guy on YouTube that released like a huge like documentary on why he thinks that Abraham Lincoln was America's first dictator. And Razor Fist, if you're listening to this, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
I wouldn't say dictator, but I would agree that he did.
He overstepped
He
some
pushed the
boundaries.
limits on the First Amendment.
Yeah. He did overstep some boundaries, but saying America's first dictator throughout the video that Razorfist released, he basically takes the actions of other people and tries to ascribe it to Lincoln, and tries to like push modern politics into the conversation. It was like, dude, just fucking stop. If it like this is my personal shout out. We talked about him a little bit during the reactions segment. We were talking about Sniper Wolf and such. But go, if you have the time, go watch Vlogging Through History's takedown on Razorfist on that video. It's a 2-part thing. He expands on it greatly and basically debunks everything that Razorfist tried to push in his video. He does acknowledge that Abraham Lincoln did some fucked up shit. But he also says, alright, you can say that, but pushing this narrative around Abraham Lincoln and trying to say that the Civil War wasn't about slavery, it was about states' rights. In Razorfist's video, that's what he claims.
Ew, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, it was a bit fucky, but
that's literally the same argument that like modern rednecks makes. It was about states' rights. Well, the states really, really wanted to make people do things for them without paying them, and that's illegal.
It's literally
like,
the argument of a state's right to what?
Yeah.
Like that's the whole reason why fucking before the Civil War began, the whole Kansas situation went down. Remember that, Ryan?
Yeah. Bloody Kansas, I believe it was called, right?
Yeah, Bloody Kansas, yeah. It was called the prequel, wasn't it, to the Civil War? Because let's be honest, it kind of was.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it.
I don't see why. Who was the president at that time? Before Lincoln?
It was Buchanan, I believe.
Was he not the one that kind of gave?
He
put
Buchanan. The entire presidency is just he just doesn't do anything the entire time he's president.
Well, I blame him for bleeding Kansas because he's the one that, like, when they gained the territory, he'd say, "All right, guys, you guys can vote on either free state or slave state. No, just pick one, because then every fucking person came to fucking Kansas to vote, and of course it turned to a fucking bloodbath."
Yeah.
But yeah, because I mean, obviously, you're gonna hate if you believe in one, you're gonna hate whoever's voting for the other. Like, that's gonna end terribly.
Yeah. Like, I've over the last couple of years, I've done a lot more looking into, like, the lead up to the Civil War and everything like that, and it's changed a lot of my positions on shit. Just because of, like, holy fuck. We're obviously from Alabama, so a lot of our classes and textbooks that we have down here skip over a lot of the fucked up shit that happened in the Confederate South.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit. Like, reparations, I support them now just because of some of the fuck shit that happened down here. I know that the Union government won. We're under the Union freed them. But the Union was also, for like 100 years, completely fine with it continuing, so long as it stayed together. So, I do agree that something needs to be paid out, you know?
Absolutely.
And I don't think that it's like a check that needs to come in the mail. It's probably like investing in schools, investing in infrastructure, getting grants, and doing some shit here and there to actually help in a meaningful way instead of just doing a stimulus package.
Yeah, and just doing like meaningless shit, like some of the stuff that we're doing for change is just so arbitrary, and we need to really get to it. But damn, some shit sucks.
You think we're gonna have anything done with Grandpa Joe in office?
But yeah, Attack on Titan was pretty good.